I don't know what's with this stupid thing. Hey, I'm live. Okay. So I set this live stream up and I'm not sure exactly what happened on YouTube. I set it up. I did everything I thought I was supposed to do and something got screwed up. So welcome. And this is Birthstrike Part 2. Part 2. Now let me see. Let me get comfortable here because everything got messed up. All right. Well, whoever's joining me, cool. Let's go through this again. I'm just learning this YouTube live on my MacBook, so bear with me. I really don't know what happened to the other one. I don't know if anybody could tell me if they saw anything, but I'll figure it out. It was supposed to just be on the webcam. I'm running late anyway because I took a shower, but yesterday, no, it was Friday, did a really good one on this Birthstrike organization I found. And it was, we talked about having children in this time of abrupt climate change. And it's really now abrupt climate disruption, which is what Dar Jamel calls it. And it is pretty, it's a pretty scary time to be living through, but for those of us that are awake. And again, I'm going to say something. When I did this the other day, there was a comment that came on and somebody said to me, oh, you know, basically about us boomers now that we took advantage of everything that capitalism or ultra capitalism had to give, we took it, and now we're telling people what to do. I didn't tell anybody what to do. Hey, I'll say hi. Hi, Chris, the Natural Progressive's with us. Kim's with us. Fred's with us. So good. So I'm not telling anybody to have kids or not to have kids. We're talking about a topic. So I wasn't sure about why the person had made that comment at the time, you know, when I wasn't saying anything about, well, I think that young people just shouldn't have kids, and I wouldn't do it. It's just not my place. My place is to bring information. My place is to talk about it with you. My place is to let's look at this article. Let's look at the articles. Let's look at the website. Let's look at this. Let's look at that. Make the decision on your own. We can talk about all of this because it is topic. It is topical. It is happening. Climate change, abrupt climate change is happening. People aren't stopping having babies. And the live chat in the last one that I did, it was really good because people were talking about themselves and they were talking about what choices they made. And hello, Radio Free Swindon. Martin is with us. Please, I'm going to give a shout out. Please sub Martin. Radio Free Swindon. He's from the UK. I like what he says. I learned from Martin. His channel had a little dip here and there because of, I think it was an internet connection issue, or he had gotten a new internet and it wasn't working well. So that's Martin. Okay. Anyway, so it was disconcerting to me that somebody had said that about what I was talking about. But I'm going to go through this again. But I'm not going to go through everything the same, obviously. And forgive me for fooling around. My hair is wet. I got out of the shower. I set this thing up on YouTube. And then I realized, oh, my God, I'm running late. And then it didn't start right anyway. And it said it started. And, you know, if I look at my YouTube, it still says it still says it's scheduled. So I have no idea. And then when I deleted it, this was another fun thing. Last night, I was going to share the video, right? And I'm laying in bed with my phone. And I was going to share it. I don't know what I clicked, but I clicked something and I put okay, and boom. Oh, Kim asked, is this? No, this is not Starsky and Hutch. This is Martin from the UK. Martin at Free Radio Swindon, Kim wanted to know, because I don't think I can put, like I can on Facebook, your comments up. So let's get started with this. I'm going to read you something. I'm going to go to it again. I'm going to go to the Facebook page. I am not going to talk about anything anybody says. I am not going to share anything. They've accepted me to be in the group. And I think it's great because I want to learn about what people think and feel. You know, that's me. I'm a learner. So about the group, it's in Facebook. They've got a YouTube. I said this in the other video, but if you weren't here, let's go for it again. Welcome to Birthstrike Facebook group, where we can discuss in private ideas, words, experiences, and activism. Let this group be a place for respect and compassion shown between all, despite healthy disagreement and agreement, which is really what we all should practice, right? I think. Declaration. We, the undersigned, declare our decision not to bear children due to the severity of the ecological crisis and the current inaction of governing forces in the face of this existential threat. Insecurity of future, despair at our species' relationship to our habitat and each other, channeling time into activism and rebellion are all common motivations. To find out more about why we are making these often very difficult decisions, please see our tweets, watch our videos, and read our statements below. What do we stand for? Birthstrike shows how the threat of ecological disaster is altering the way we imagine our future. It is a radical acknowledgement that our planet has entered a sixth mass extinction event due to man-made impacts on the environment. But Birthstrike stands in solidarity with the environmental justice movement, the academic and scientific community who are encouraging acts of rebellion and widespread system change in order to urgently save our future. Birthstrike stands for fast acting and deep change towards an equality-based, sustainable, caring, and nonviolent future for humans and between all life on Earth. Some terms and inclusivity. Birthstrike stands in compassionate solidarity with all parents, celebrates their choice, and doesn't seek to judge anyone intending to bear children. Birthstrike disagrees with prioritizing population control over system change in regards to tackling the environmental crisis. And they're talking about nefarious things, you know, not helping people in other countries obtain birth control pills, you know, things like that. That's not what they're talking about. They disagree with any enforced population control measures and recognizes the colonial violence of such measures having been proposed in the past and present. By adult, we mean the typical age of attaining legal adulthood, which is 18 years old. Birthstrike is a voluntary group and anyone can join or leave at any time. Birthstrike is inclusive of all capacities to conceive, those who already are parents as well as those who are child-free, and all gender and identities. So it's a new group. I like it. You know, I like what they're standing for a lot. Okay, I do. I really do. And that's why I want to learn from them and let them know that, you know, we're watching because it's really cool. Now, I have a 30-year-old daughter. I've told you this before. Years ago, this kid said to me, "Mom, I'm not a breeder." You know, she wasn't having kids, she said. And she hasn't. And I'm not going to whine about it. Years ago, I thought I wanted to be a grandma when I was awake. And before I was awake. And I don't think so. She's my only one. And I don't think so. But of course, I'm never going to tell her what to do, even though years ago I might have said, well, it would be nice. But now I can't even lift my freaking cat, let alone a baby. And Radio Free Swindon said, I don't have a womb. Well, Martin, I hope not. But if you did, even, we love you anyway, no matter what. So I got a couple of other articles here. And the one that I had talked about the other day, I'm not going to go through this whole thing, but it was from 2017. And I had gotten it off of our Facebook page because when I posted about Birthstrike, there was a BBC article and it was actually a video. And the woman was talking about, why she didn't want to have kids. The contention and the arguing and everything that happened in that chat was what got me started on wanting to do that live stream, which I did on YouTube, and then bringing me to this one, right? So that article was in The Guardian, and it was called "Want to Fight Climate Change, Have Fewer Children." Okay, again, not telling anybody what to do. And the next best actions are selling your car, avoiding flights, and going vegetarian, according to a study into true impacts of different green lifestyle choices. So this article was talking about a study that came out in Environmental Research Letters, and they had figured that by far the biggest ultimate impact is having one fewer child, which researchers calculated equated to a reduction of 58 tons of CO2 for each year of a parent's life. And the figure was calculated by totaling up emissions of the child and their descendants, then dividing this total by the parent's lifespan. I'll put this in again. I had this all set up with everything written out, and obviously it didn't work. So, but I'm here, right? I'm here. I'm on YouTube. So because I want to use YouTube. I love my Facebook peeps, but I really I want to use YouTube and really learn how to do this. So this article in The Guardian is up there. I'll put that up there for you guys. Then there was another article. Now this is in a magazine online called Fast Company. Now, Fast Company, I used to read when I worked, when I was in my career. It was kind of geared towards career-oriented people, which I was. I wasn't awake necessarily like down this rabbit hole, but I certainly, I looked at these magazines and I found this, and they're talking about in the article, again, I'll put a link. This woman, she started bringing up the idea with other women in environmental advocacy groups. She said, "You're around my age. What are you thinking about kids?" She says, "I was able to ask that question to a few people, and I was really surprised that there were a lot of people who were saying, I haven't talked about this to anybody, but I'm really questioning it." She started a Facebook group called Birthstrike, and this is her name that started it. It was Blythe Pepino. She started this and to make the idea public, and within a few days, 90 women had joined. While some may be partly motivated by the fact that choice limits carbon emissions, one recent study found that not having children is one of the most effective ways to limit your personal carbon footprint. The underlying motivation was wanting to avoid bringing a child into a world where they may suffer. Our main focus is the fact that we're too afraid, really, to bring a child into that future, Pepino says. After Alexandra Ocasio-Cortez recently suggested that some young Americans feel the same way, a survey found that 38% of 18 to 29-year-old Americans believe that a couple should consider the risks of climate change before deciding to have kids. I can't have a child unless I am seriously, seriously convinced that we are on another path. One member of Birthstrike, 22-year-old Alice Brown, says in a video about the group. The group doesn't suggest that others need to make the same choice. And members sign a declaration saying that they stand in compassionate solidarity, which I did. I signed it and uploaded it to them. And so I got in. Um, with parents that don't endorse population control as a solution for climate change. Just as some women in the middle of the 20th century might have decided to have children despite the understanding the threat of nuclear war was bringing, Pepino says she understands why some people who fully understand the risks of climate change may still decide to have children. So, um, I'm not going to go the rest of it. She said she's not optimistic that the world will make the necessary changes to address climate change in time, but that doesn't stop me from trying to make it happen. And that's something that I talk about, right? You know, our activism, things that we do locally. You know, we may look, and I say this all the time, we may look at that big picture and realize that that we can't do a damn thing, but we can do things in our homes. We can do things in our local communities. We can do a lot of things to make our lives right now better, I think. But she said being the end of it was being public was such an emotional decision is one way to underline the urgency of the need for the change. And we know what change. This is my way of saying, come on, guys, I'm almost out of hope, she says. So let's put everything into this because I feel it so severely that I'm not having children and neither are these other people. I think it's an interesting move. And I think it's an interesting way to wake people up. I absolutely do. And there was one more article that I had found in a publication called Ruminate. And it was on having a baby in the age of climate change. And this woman, Caroline Crawford Segrist, wrote it. She talks about, caring for an infant. And she says, how would he survive in a post-apocalyptic Mad Max hellscape? And she says, I pictured him careening through a sun-scorched fever dream of a landscape, clinging to a mechanical steed cobbled together from a lost age of 16-wheelers. So she just wrote this article. I'll put it up, but I'd like to just now have a little bit of a discussion with you guys in the audience who are here with me. Thank you. Edgar Reese, thanks for coming. He said he has to run. He's got to go work on his solar. Oh, all right. Good for you. All right. So, natural progressive. Chris said, am I the only one that keeps buffering? I don't know. I hope not, because I have lousy internet, but today it seems to look all right. I don't know. Chris said, this is how picture kids living in the near future. So sad. It's hard to think about. It is. But what I said in the other video was that education has to change all over the world, especially in Western nations. Children need to be given tools for that Mad Max future. They need to be given tools, work with their hands. They need to know how to grow food. They need to have, in some cases, and the vegans might disagree with me, but they may need to know how to hunt, because it may come to a time when they can't grow food. I mean, what do you do? But I think kids need to be educated in a different way than they are now in the Betsy DeVos school of thought, and kids need to get their heads out of the internet as much, because that isn't going to make them eat. That's not going to help you learn how to eat. Hi, Pool Ball. Lots of people have joined us. And Jay, I know you're Jay Hadcast. Yes, Sandy. Food and water, basic non-tech survival. Non-tech survival. I think that's really what we have to do with kids. Well, again, mine's 30. I have friends that have children. My daughter has friends that are having children. I never say anything to them like that. It's not my place. I will talk to my daughter about things like this. And hi, Fiesta Cranberry has joined us. How cool. Very cool. And Robin Dada. Hi, Robin. All right. So we have a pretty good full house for a good discussion on this. Just like the other day that I deleted, which I really was mad because it was a really good one and I liked it. Stephen Davidson has joined us. Hi, people. All right. So this is good. This time I'm not going to delete it. And Vegematic is with us. You know, the other video we had talked about, people were sharing in the chat about their child free or child full or what have you. And I had made this comment that people I worked with that did not have kids seemed to be so happy, you know. And I'm not saying having kids is a bad thing as far as to those who want them. Like I said, I had one and that was it. I knew that for me, that was it. I was never going to have more than one kid. Puppies, kittens. When she was growing up, I had 3 dogs, 5 cats, and 7 fish tanks. This is the Earth Mother you're looking at right here. And then she grew up, and when she was 19, she got a Rottweiler. Didn't have any kids. She got a dog. So I wish I could just I can't see it. Jay that cast. I'm so sorry. Says most adults don't know real survival. It's true. It's very true. And Martin Radio Free Swindon said the Handmaid's Tale. Yeah, actually. But how do we do this? You know we need to change. We know that our geopolitical situation in this entire world is completely screwed up. But how do you do that? How do you change? And if people are going to have kids, how do you get through to the local school districts that they need more hands-on training? My husband works in a school district, and he said he works in a vocational school. And he said that they are teaching a lot of hands-on kinds of things. And I'm waiting to hear a little bit more from him about exactly what they're teaching, if it's criminal justice, that isn't going to help anybody survive. We won't even go into criminal justice. No, 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 no. So, all right. So let's see what else here is going on. I'm looking, and all right, Ed had a run, and Chris, you put this to Birthstrike. Well, I hope that they like it, because I typically, I ask before I put videos up that I do in groups, because some people think it's obnoxious, and I don't want to do anything obnoxious. But so what do you guys say? This doesn't rival the first one I did. I mean, that was a great conversation, and we really covered some territory. But Birthstrike is pretty cool. I'll show you their graphic. And right now, again, they're on Facebook, and maybe I like the graphic. I think it's nice. And I respect what they're doing. I completely respect what they're doing. Oh, I see. Chris said that that his shows are disturbing. Not all of them, but they're thought-provoking. And he said life is very disturbing at the moment. But I find that, there's so much on YouTube, and you really have to be a critical thinker, and you have to be able to take the things that you learn on YouTube, you see on YouTube, and take it with a grain of salt. Even me, do your research. Just because Wiki has all kinds of little numbers, and you think that it's, oh, wow, it's researched, that doesn't mean it is. You got to dig down, So here we are in this rabbit hole. And again, not telling anybody what to do, just giving you information on this. There's probably a lot of people. Oh, and thank you, Chris. They'll be fine with my video. She said she posted it. I didn't. Okay. You're so sweet. I think Chris and I are going to do something together soon. Natural progressive. I think it'll be great. I think more women down here in the doomosphere, if you want to call it, or talking about abrupt climate change and talking about the issues, especially these issues that do affect females, like having children. It's important. It really is important. A lot of people are very angry and don't want to talk about stuff, and there's a lot of nihilism and fatalism and all, but we're still here. We're living one day at a time here, right? One day at a time. Robin says 7.5 billion humans is an overshoot by about 6+ billion humans, made possible by fossil fuels. It will correct harshly and involuntarily, if not done voluntarily and gently. Yeasts in a vat of sugar water. Well, Robin, you said it. It's prolific. It's scary, but we don't know. Of course, none of us can tell the future. That's why we listen to our scientists friends like Guy McPherson and Paul Beckwith and Jen Badel and Peter Wadhams and all of the different scientists and writers that we've come across. That's why we read or we understand what they are telling us, and we distill it and we collate it for ourselves so that we can go on. People ask me, how do you deal with this, San? How do you deal with what you read, what you do on a day-to-day basis? And I say, first of all, I am dealing with my own collapse of my own body, chronic pain, which I tell everybody, ad nauseum. But how do you deal with it? You realize that, again, if you realize you cannot control the big picture, you can make differences. You can vote. You can do those things. You can support a candidate. You can't control the big picture. Don't make yourself sick figuring you can, But if you want to, where you live, join the town board. I was recently in Florida and I thought, my God, that state is just going to crumble. And again, I'll say it again. I call it the crane state and not the bird, the crane. Because they're building and building and building. And I just don't see that that's sustainable in Florida. And it's going to be a cluster F down there. And they already had it. They already had, Mexico Beach is destroyed. What's next, right? What's next? So I started this on Birthstrike. I wanted to make another video about it because of the screw up that I did, in learning how to make YouTube something that I can use with my stupidly expensive MacBook Pro. And Kim has to leave. Bye, Kim. Thanks for coming. Let's see. Expansion of building is a response to pending doom. It's horrible in Florida. I mean, it is awful. I thought I went down to a camping ground, which was absolutely beautiful, but it's the last bastions of beauty because the Everglades are being pretty much ruined and they're dammed. So there's no, clean water going down there. There's sugar runoff. I took videos. I'm going to make my own video to show the burning of the sugar fields because that's what they want to do. That's what they do. And all the pollution that is a result of that. There's a lot going on down there. It was a beautiful state, was once a beautiful state. Chris is talking about her horses. She's lost several horses, over 30 that passed. They led a full life. Have 4 elderly dogs and 4 elderly horses right now. It's hard to lose them, but losing the younger ones is worse. Oh, Chris, you're an animal person too. Right now I have 5 cats. That's all I can handle. And horses, I love horses. And I'm glad that you're doing it. I think it's a beautiful thing. I think that's really awesome. I'm so happy that we've crossed paths with all of you that follow. Thank you. And Steven says he takes care of all the wild animals. Well, you try to rehab what you find. I mean, where I live, there's a lot of rehab facilities or people that will come out if you have an injured bird, they'll help you. Um, Martin says civilizations have to get stupid before they get clever. Do you think we have that kind of time? I'm not going to say. Others do. I always say that. So, anyway, guys, thank you. I will go through, one more time. It was Birthstrike we were talking about. I screwed up the video. There are articles that I have here. I joined the group. I'm hoping to be involved and learn and see this thing blossom, along with Extinction Rebellion, because I have to put a plug for them because I think that they're awesome. And that's it. Anybody have anything else that they want to bring up before I go? And then I want to thank you for all being here for the second one. And I need to learn how to use OBS software, and I need to learn how to make sure that if I do schedule something on Facebook, it works. So we're 30 minutes, and I'll read Robin, take away fossil fuels, and then renewables will provide only a trickle of the energy flow. We don't know. We can only speculate, Robin. We don't know. If everybody just takes care of their own little place, like rooftop solar. I know it's not the answer, but we don't know what the answer is. So we might as well live every day. And I'm glad I caught you all too. So you guys have a wonderful day. And thanks for coming on my remake of Birthstrike, and peace. I love you all. Thanks. Bye.